when people talk about, oh, New Year's resolutions, I hate that. I hate it. I hate it. Because you know what happens with New Year's resolutions? What happened to the New Year's resolutions you had in January? Did you fulfill them? Probably not. You know why? Because it was a list. Do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. But if you could find a way to get fit in 11 minutes, at least to start you on that journey, doesn't 11 minutes sound a little more compatible with your body than if I said 30, 45 minutes, an hour?
Hello, you are listening to the Late Bloomer Living podcast. I'm Yvonne Marchese, your host, and I'm so happy you're here. I created this podcast to give you inspiration and let you know you're not alone in feeling stuck in midlife. I also invite you to join the Age Agitators Club for women, where we come together monthly to hatch our plans for making waves as we age. Being part of this community for women will remind you on a regular basis that you're not too old, and it's never too late to do that thing you've been thinking about. You can find more information at latebloomerliving.com/community, and I hope to see you there. Hello, my friend. Woo-hoo-hoo, it's January. I think we all know what that means. I'm going to speak for all of us. I think we all get the urge to start new, get in shape, do all the things. And I have somebody here to talk to us about that today. She is my dear friend, Cat Corchado. She is my salty sister. If you don't know her, you should. And if you don't know about Salty Sisters, the other fun project that I do with Cat, you should also know about that. That's the first Friday of every month. We go live together on YouTube and LinkedIn and Facebook, and we have fun conversations. Sometimes we have guests, sometimes it's just the two of us. But Kat is an Air Force veteran. She has a podcast called Sisters in Service that she established to help service members coming out of the military, making the transition, which was a very difficult transition for her. And she's expanded that now into beyond talking to women coming out of the service. She now talks to men who are coming out of the service, family members, anybody who is involved with the experience of serving. She is all about talking about that experience, and it's a great service what she does with her podcast. So she is served and now she's still serving. I love that about her. The other thing is that she is a movement specialist. She is a Pilates instructor. She has a program called Small Space Pilates, which is an online workout from home with her in your own living room. No perfection policy. She's like, come as you are, and she will kick your butt in the very, 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 very best way. I can't say enough good things about this lady. She is one of my favorite people to hang out with. Kat, I'm so glad you're back. In fact, she's been on the podcast before. So maybe in the show notes, I'll put one of those, that previous episode. What, have you been on the podcast more than one? Like a
I
few
don't know. Is
times?
this like part two, part three? Is
I've
this a
lost track.
prequel?
We do so much together that I've kind of lost track.
Me too. But thank you for having me yet again. Thank you.
Yet again, well, you've got a few things going on that I think people need to know about, that I want people to know about. If you are somebody who is trying to get comfortable in your body again, feel good in your body. What's your phrase, Kat? You believe everybody has the right to.
To feel that everyone has the right to feel good in their body.
I love that. I love that. And so if that's you, if you haven't been feeling good in your body, you need to know Cat Corchado. And she's going to be doing a really cool challenge coming up. Can you talk about that first?
Absolutely. So it's called the Keep It Moving 11-Minute Fitness Challenge. And I don't know if you want to talk about the 11 minutes later, but
No,
it's
talk
going to
about whatever
be
you want to. Go, girl.
So let me backtrack a little bit. The 11 minutes came from a study, that had to do with high intensity interval training. And I read the study and I was like, okay, great. But then I flipped it on its head and I thought, what if you could take the 11 minutes and people who have never worked out, or it's been a long time since they've worked out, could use that 11 minutes to jumpstart their fitness journey. And that's where that 11 minutes came from. So in this fitness challenge, it's going to be January 21st through the 25th. I can give you more details later, that it's going to be 11 minutes, no weights, body weight only, 11 minutes for 5 days to help jumpstart the new you in the new year. Ooh, I like that.
Ooh, did you just come up with that?
I did.
You're the best at doing things like that. The new year. What is it? The new you in the new year?
Oh, don't ask me to repeat it. The jumpstart the new you in the new year.
I love it. So how is this how is this going to work? How is the challenge going to work? How can people join? Let's get down to the nitty-gritty on this first.
So it's gonna be at the same time. Right now, I don't know what that time is. I haven't figured that out because it's still early, but it's coming soon.
Right. Kat and I,
so
just for full disclosure, we are talking, it is December 9th, and this episode is going to be coming out on January 15th, I believe.
Mhm,
But by the time it comes out, if we don't have that information for you folks right now, then what I'll do
mhm,
is make sure to put it in the show notes so it's available for you, or
mhm,
I'll tack it on somehow to the audio of the
mhm.
podcast later. But what is the idea? Do people need to sign up? Is it a paid thing? How do they get
It's
to
completely
you?
free. It's
Okay.
free. You will get a link to join, and you'll just tune in at the same time for 5 days. We'll do an 11-minute workout. Like I said, you need no weights, no equipment. Just bring your body and bring your enthusiasm.
Do people need to show up like on Zoom, or is it something that you're live streaming that they can tune into like on YouTube or someplace else?
Well, it's going to be within our community, in my community in Kajabi. And
Okay.
so they'll be able to come in, do the workout. The workout will live for about a week so that you'll have access to it, and then it'll be done after
Okay.
that. But this is a way for, when people talk about, oh, New Year's resolutions, I hate that. I hate it. I hate it. Because you know what happens with New Year's resolutions? What happened to the New Year's resolutions you had in January? Did you fulfill them? Probably not. You know why? Because it was a list. Do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. But if you could find a way to get fit in 11 minutes, at least to start you on that journey, doesn't 11 minutes sound a little more compatible with your body than if I said 30, 45 minutes, an hour? Yeah, we're going to do an hour every day for it. You'd be like, oh, I don't think so. But 11 minutes, you're kind of like, yeah, I think I could do 11 minutes.
Yeah, yeah. Well, inspired by you, I did an 11-minute challenge for myself last year, and then
Mhm. Then
had
we
so
did
much
one
fun with you.
together.
You did a video with me on YouTube, so I will also put the link to that in the show notes so that anybody who wants to see what it's like to do this with Kat, you can
Mhm.
go link to that previous 11-minute workout she did with me on YouTube. Did we even do that twice, maybe? I can't
I
remember.
can't remember. It's been a
Anyway,
while, but we did do it.
I will say it totally worked for me because what I realized, and the reason I did the challenge for myself, is Kat had been talking about this 11-minute idea. And I realized that there was something that I wanted to do, was to incorporate more weight training into my routine. I do move every day, but I wasn't doing weight training. I wasn't, which I think is important at this point in our lives. And maybe you can speak to that, Kat. But you know what it did for me is it just got me going. And I will say that once I started, on most days, if I started, I would end up going past 11 minutes
Mhm.
because suddenly I was moving. And the hardest part is starting.
It is. It is. What happens with your body is that the first 10 minutes, your body's like, oh my God, we have to get blood to all the muscles. We got to do all this other stuff. And then after 10 minutes, hence 11 minutes,
Uh-huh.
you start to, those endorphins, those feel good endorphins start to kick in. And you're like, oh, it's been 11 minutes. Maybe I can go 15 minutes. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? It's
Mm-hmm.
that, wow, I did this. Maybe I can keep doing this. And so that's why I wanted it to be 11 minutes because it takes about 10 minutes for those endorphins to kick in a little bit.
I love that. That's so
Yeah.
cool.
And weight training is really, how can I say this? If you are a woman and you are over the age of 40 and you have not been weight training, and we're not talking about bulk here, we're talking about making the muscle more efficient. And even an hours after you've done a weight workout, you're still burning calories. That's what I love. It's like that. You ever build a fire and it's a
Bonus. Ding,
roaring
ding, ding,
fire, and
ding.
then and then you see the embers, but it's still hot though. But you don't have the roar. That's what weight training does for your body. It's that
Ah,
slow burn type of thing.
oh, I like that.
Hmm.
Uh-huh. Okay, that's super cool. What oh, what did I want to ask you? I had a question I wanted to ask you. It just went poof out of my mind.
I hate when that happens. I also want to say real quick while you're thinking about that is
Yeah.
that the reason to work out. So Alzheimer's, dementia, these are all things that are big ticket. I don't want to say items, but they're big ticket kind of things where people go, oh, I got to read this. And we're ready to take a pill to enhance our memory. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with that. But you know what exercise does for your brain? It's like a shot of adrenaline right to your brain whenever you start exercising.
Mm.
I'm not saying it's going to prevent Alzheimer's, but it's a good fighter. I'm going to say that. It's a
I've
good
read a
fighter.
lot of things that do indicate that exercise is very well connected to helping stave off dementia. And it isn't the silver bullet. There are still
Mm-mm.
people who will end up with dementia, even though they are regular exercisers and even high-end
Mhm.
athletes. I've seen it happen. But
Yes,
I mean, why not give yourself a fighting chance, you know?
absolutely. There's certain things that we're born with. It's like, oh, this runs in my family. So I will tell you this, full transparency, high blood pressure runs in my family. I am the
Mhm.
oldest of three kids. Everyone in my family, my mother and my two brothers are already on high blood pressure medication. And I can't say that I not going to get it. As I get older, the prevalence of it can be more pronounced, but I'm
Hmm.
fighting it every step of the way. I'm doing everything but take a medication. Now, if I have to, then I have to, and that's what I have to do. But maybe I'm not taking the medication every day. Maybe it's every other day. Maybe it's once a week, but I'm
Mm.
still fighting it. At
Mm.
67, I'm still fighting it.
I think you're putting up the good fight, is what I
Well, thank
think.
you.
That's awesome. And speaking of that, okay, let's say somebody is 67 and they have not
Mhm.
been active the way you have been your whole life. Is it too late for somebody to make a significant improvement in their health through weight training or through exercise when if let's say your body is just atrophied to the point where you're really in bad shape, maybe you do have some health issues.
Mhm.
Can somebody start from some zero or below or negative, you know?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Whenever I see someone like that, and I've had clients where they could barely move, and we started just with assessing their how they're standing, their form, when they're standing, and looking at certain things. Might have a shoulder hike, or they might have a hip higher, or they might be here because they've been sitting in a chair, and meeting them where they are. So maybe standing is not a thing. We're going to do stuff sitting down. Studies have shown, they did a study of, I think they were 75 plus years old, okay, in a assisted
Hmm.
living facility. And they went in, and for 8 weeks, they showed up, they did their little workout. Well, they did a bone density and body fat analysis after the 8 weeks. They did it before and did it after. Everyone who attended the class had an increase in muscle mass in a good way.
Mm-hmm. And
And
did
so
it
when you
help with
have,
bone density as well? Was that?
yes. So
Oh.
remember, whatever you're doing for your muscles, you're doing for your bones. So you're increasing the strength and what do they call it? Tactile. I think that's what the word is, the density of your bones. Now, if you have osteoporosis or osteopenia, it might be you may need your doctor's permission to see if that's something that's available to you. But there are a lot of ways you can, besides weightlifting, to do body weight training. You don't need any weights at all. You carry this body around with you all the time. But you'd be surprised how hard it is to do some body weight training when it's called upon. But I don't think it's ever too late to start. You just have to know what to do,
Mhm.
how to do it, what the form is, because I'm a stickler for form, and go for it. I think anybody should just go for it.
I'm with you. I fill my life with examples of people who are still moving and grooving at advanced ages, which brings me to a term that you use quite a bit, which is keep it moving.
Yes.
And I am a firm believer in the move it or lose it thread of
Mhm.
thought. But you often, I mean, keep it moving, keep it moving. That comes out of your mouth a
A
lot.
lot. It
And
does.
which leads me to that you have a new book coming out.
I do. And guess what it's called? Keep it moving.
Keep it moving. So
And
exciting. Can we talk about the process of writing the book? Because I know you don't
Mhm.
consider yourself to be a writer,
Mm-mm.
right? Hey, we're going to take a quick break here so I can tell you about an awesome resource that I think you're going to love. Here's the thing. We are always works in progress. Do you find yourself wondering, what do I want to be when I grow up? If so, then I think you're going to want to subscribe to We're All Getting Older, which is a weekly newsletter written by Lou Blazer that's all about continuing to grow and get better in the second half of our lives. We're All Getting Older is a sponsor for this podcast, and I'll tell you, I get so much benefit from reading Lou's newsletter every week, and I think you will too. She writes the newsletter for midlifers who believe in getting better as we get older and making the most of life's second half. So if you want to subscribe to that, it is on Substack, and you can easily find a link to subscribe at loublazer.com. That's loublaser.com. And now back to our regularly scheduled programming. Can we talk about the process of writing the book? Because I know you don't
Mhm.
consider yourself to be a writer,
Mm-mm.
right?
I'm one of those people. Okay, so remember in high school when you had to take notes? I was
Mhm.
the person trying to write down every word that someone said. And
Me
if you're one of those
too.
people that my brain processes faster than my hand can write,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
I get frustrated.
Yeah.
So when people say, "Oh, you should write a book," and I'm like, "Oh, no, 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 no." I tried writing it. Yeah, doesn't work. So what I did was, through the help of my business coach, Kim White, she said, "Well, why don't we record your story?" And I was like, "Yeah," because, I like to talk. And it was so much easier. And she took the transcripts and turned it into a book. And I was like, I could write 5 books like that. But you tell me to write something. No, as soon as someone says, get a pen and paper, I'm like, oh God, what are we gonna be doing?
Oh my
Don't ask
goodness.
me to write anything.
Oh my goodness. So and the book, the what you were trying to communicate with the book also changed in that process too, didn't it? Well, your first draft was kind of more of an instructional. book. And what would you
Mhm.
say, how would you describe the new version of what's actually going out into the world?
The new version is a more personal aspect. It's more about me. So people reading it get to know my journey
Mm-hmm.
and why fitness is such a passion for me.
Mm-hmm.
And the other book was I don't want to say it was a how-to, but it was talking about the difference between yoga and Pilates and why Pilates is great for people, the difference, how you choose, weight training at home versus with a trainer. But I think that's probably my second book. So
Mm-hmm.
my first book is, just getting to know me a little bit so that, I'm not the expert, even though I've been in the fitness industry for 40 years.
I
That
was
sounds
gonna
like a
say, I
lot.
don't know about you not being the expert, Kat. You
Well, the expert,
have expertise.
it sounds as though I know everything. And I'm a lifelong learner. You know this, Yvonne.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lifelong learner always feels like there's more. There's more to learn. There's more to learn. So I never want to fall into the expert thing, even though I know a lot about fitness, because once I go expert, I'm like, oh, I'm done. I can just sit back and wait. And I love to learn. So this book is more about people getting to know me and
Mm-hmm.
trusting me instead of me saying, oh, I'm a personal trainer over here, I'm a Pilates instructor over here. Reading about my journey, why this is important to me and why it should be important, not my story, but just movement for other people.
Yeah. That you are a lifelong learner. I mean, I can you speak a little bit to the recent training that you've completed for cancer?
Mhm.
What is that again?
So it's called the Cancer Exercise Training Institute. And it is how trainers or anyone in the fitness industry can help anybody still move, whether they've been diagnosed with cancer, they're going through cancer treatment, they've had surgery, how to get them back on their feet. Because studies have shown that even if you could walk around your bed and back, that's that part of your body going, oh, because you need muscle to fight off any kind of disease. If you have no muscle in your body, disease is just going to come in.
Mm.
And so
Is there
one of
a
the
lot of
things,
muscle loss that happens for cancer, for people going through cancer treatment?
yes, it actually
Oh,
eats your muscle.
wow.
Chemo and radiation actually eats away at the muscle. So you have to maintain, either build up that muscle prior to,
Mm-hmm.
so you've had the diagnosis and maybe you're going to have surgery, but the surgery is down the road,
Mm-hmm.
that we could build up some muscle, or getting you people to move, because people think, oh, I've got cancer, I got to sit still, I can't do a whole lot. And I get that, because mentally you got to get yourself mentally ready
Mm-hmm.
for something like that. And then physically to be able to just, even assisted, walking to the bathroom that's in your room in the hospital, or even in where you live, and walking back. It might be 10 steps, but that's 10 steps more than you did before. And then you increase it.
Mm-hmm.
Studies have shown that this helping to build muscle mass helps a lot of people. I won't say everyone because I don't know that, to help fight off, because cancer just wants to eat away at you. But when you build muscle, the muscle's like, oh, no, you don't. Ugh,
Mm.
ugh.
I love those little punches. What's it like to keep doing continuing education at 67 years old? Is it harder?
I don't think it's harder. I
Mm-hmm.
think I'm more strategic in what it is I want to include. When you first get in the fitness industry, you want, I want to get that certification, that, and that. And then you've got 12 certifications, but you're not utilizing any of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had that happen. I've had certifications where I'm like, why am I doing this? It sounded cool at the time,
Mm-hmm.
but then it falls off. I can say that my track record for being on point with getting certified in say step aerobics. That lasted a long time. You know, it fell off. That's fine, but I'm no longer teaching those classes. So, you know, I'm getting I just got my cancer exercise training instructor certification. I've been a Pilates instructor for 15 years. Yearly, we do workshops, learning, you know, just about things that have come up, you know, with instructors. I'm also getting a Yamana body rolling certification. So
So what?
if
Wait,
you've
what?
ever wanted to give yourself a massage
Can you
without
say it
all the
again?
work,
Yamana.
Yamuna, Yamuna.
Yamana. Okay, so
Yamuna.
what is it? What is Yamana? Explain this to me again.
So it's been
Sorry.
around for probably 20 plus years.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And I had done a class with it and I fell in love. Okay. I was like, oh my gosh. And so I gotten certified in it. Well, the only way to get recertified was to go back to New York. Well, you know, that'd be cool now because I could stop and see you, Yvonne.
Exactly.
But it was just hard. Well, now they're doing, of course, because of COVID, everything is online. So I decided to get recertified. So there are different types of balls that can be used that helps to alleviate pain and discomfort in the body. You can use these anywhere in your body, not in your body, on your body, including the back of your head, your neck. They even have, they're called foot wakers that are great for your feet. So if you want to know how messed up your feet are, do these foot wakers. They're going to talk to you.
I think I need to
But
do
it's
that. Yeah.
the thing about it is it's not just another certification for me. I've been body rolling ever since my certification lapsed. So
Mm.
I've been doing it this whole time.
And so
And
you
I
have
thought,
personal experience, you know it works for you.
yeah, oh yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow, that's very cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
you are always you're not one to sit still ever. I
I'm
love that
not. I
about
never
you.
will be. You know, I like having my me time, but to sit still for an extended amount of time, no, it's
Yeah.
not happening.
So what's it like to suddenly be very close to being a published author? Now, by the time this episode comes out, I don't know, maybe your book will be available, but if not, it's coming soon. Um,
Yes.
what does it feel like to have I mean, I know it's not in your hand yet, but
Right. I
yeah,
think like at first, you know, I was like, you know, people kept asking me about it, and I was like, well, I don't know. I just did the recording. I guess it feels good. And then I saw the front cover and back cover, and I was like, oh, and I got even more excited, you know, but to hold it in my hands and see it and touch it and feel it is going to be even more so. It
yeah,
still seems kind of like pie in the sky type of thing. You know, you're like, oh, I wrote a book and it's way over there, you know. But I think it's as it gets closer to being published, I think it's going to be even more exciting.
yeah. You know, I think I want to talk about the this process that you've been through in getting a book birthed, um,
Mhm.
and how I love that for you that there's more than one way to skin a cat, I guess, is what I'm trying to say for anybody
Mhm.
listening right now. Maybe you have a reason that you want to book out in the world, but you don't feel like you're a writer.
Mhm.
We have a friend, Holly Totten, who has given us some coaching on becoming authors. And I think her phrase is not everybody is a writer, but anybody can be an author. And
Yes.
what you're doing is a perfect example of that. You've got, I mean, we both have the same business coach, Kim White. She's
Mhm.
amazing. And she shepherded me through the process of getting a
Mhm.
book out into the world. And like, if there's that little niggly feeling that that's something you think would be helpful for people out in the world, either to know your story or to learn a little bit about something that you're really good at, but maybe the thing
Mhm.
you're not good at is writing, just know that there's more than one way to do things.
Oh,
Which
yes.
is why I wanted to talk to you about this today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people like I remember a friend of mine probably 2 years ago, she goes, I really think you should write a book. And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. And I kind of it just kind of went like this. But writing a book and writing a book are two different things.
Mm-hmm.
So you can write a book without writing it, or you can write a book by writing it.
Yeah.
I just wrote it in a different way, which is with my voice, and it was recorded on Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
And so did I write it? Yeah, I just spoke my book. It was like
Yeah.
what do they call that? An audio book, only it wasn't published
Yeah.
yet.
And I mean, some people have gone the ghostwriter route.
Hmm.
Holly has been a ghostwriter on numerous books. I have another friend
Hmm.
who has edited books and has also done ghostwriting. So not every book that you see on the bookshelves out in the world was written by the person who has the author title on that book, but they did go through the process of telling their story to a ghostwriter who then put that into the format for a book. And
Right.
I love that there's so many ways to make things happen if we don't limit ourselves to thinking it
Mhm.
has to be this certain way, or it's not bona fide, or it's not valid.
And everyone thinks it needs to be this huge process. Oh, I got to get this person over here and get this. And, Kim is teaching us that you don't need that. What I'm trying to do with this book is build trust. So people go, oh, she talked about that in her book.
Very
So we'll
cool.
see. We'll
Oh,
see.
I am so stinking proud of you.
Oh,
And
thank you.
yeah, yeah. I'm going to have information for everybody in the show notes. I'll have links to your past episodes here with me.
Hmm.
I will have the 11-minute challenge that we did together on YouTube so people can kind of get a flavor of what that is. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah. That
we
would be
did it over
cool.
Zoom, so I think it's going to be a
Yeah.
little different, right? This is going to be
Yes.
you on camera going through a thing and
Hmm.
people can kind of follow along with
Right.
you. Is that
And what I
right?
want to say too is if you don't want to be seen on camera, that's fine. I
Mm-hmm.
get that. Um, so don't feel like that's going to stop you. If you're
Okay.
interested in doing this, I would love to see your face to say hello, but then if you want your
So
camera
are
to be
you,
off,
it is a Zoom like experience. So,
yes. Yeah, it's going to be
okay.
yeah.
So people can come join and you're going to
Hmm.
be interactive with the people who are joining as part of the process. Ooh, that's
Yes.
even better. I love that.
Yes.
I love that. But you
So,
don't have to be in camera if you don't want to.
exactly. Because I
Love
know
that
it
too.
feels weird at first,
Yeah. Yeah.
but we're going to have a good time. I'm
Oh my
super excited.
gosh. I can't wait. Yay. Well, Kat, thank you so much for being with me today. And I love you.
Always a pleasure for you, my friend. Always a pleasure. Whenever, wherever.
We'll talk sooner rather than later.
I'm sure. Thanks again, Yvonne.
Thanks, Kat. Well, there you have it. Thank you so much for listening here to the end. Today we talked about how taking small, consistent steps can lead to incredible transformations, whether it's in your health and fitness or pursuing a creative dream. Cat's 11-minute movement challenge is proof that even the tiniest commitment can build momentum and create lasting change in your well-being. So I hope you'll take advantage of that. And isn't it fascinating how that same principle applies to other areas of life? For example, Cat didn't consider herself a writer, but she got creative and she found her own way to share her story. Just like starting with 11 minutes of movement, she started small, leaned into what felt doable, and made progress towards a goal that once felt out of reach. So what's your 11 minutes? What's one small step that you can take today that could snowball into something bigger, whether it's getting active, starting a creative project, or trying something entirely new with no pressure towards it being anything else? Just remember that change doesn't have to be overwhelming. It's all about finding your starting point and taking that first step. If this episode inspired you, I hope you'll take a moment to share it with a friend. And don't forget to join Cat's free 11-minute challenge. You can sign up at smallspacepilates.com. You'll see a link there. And I'll also have a link so you can find her in the show notes for this episode. Just go to latebloomerliving.com. By the way, her book should be available in February or March of this year. And you can always tune in to Salty Sisters the first Friday of every month at noon Eastern Time. And those will usually show up on my YouTube channel at Late Bloomer Living. Okay, wow, that was a lot of stuff. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a fantastic week. Remember, always be bloomin' and bloom like you mean it.